Hey, come closer for a moment. Settle your breathing, steady your mind. Because what I'm about to lay on the table doesn't just scratch the surface, it digs straight into the place you've been trying to ignore. The place where you've been bleeding quietly, while pretending everything's fine, carrying pressure that should have crushed the very people who caused it. Look at me. You already feel the shift outside, don't you? That uneasy vibration running through conversations, group chats, eyes avoiding eye contact, whispers turning into gasps. They didn't just make a mistake this time. They detonated their own credibility. Not a tiny slip, not a minor mishap. No, this was messy, catastrophic, the kind of disaster people try to bury in a shallow digital grave and pray no one notices. But someone did. You did. And now the thing they prayed would stay hidden has surfaced, loudly, violently, with the kind of force that rearranges entire rooms. The evidence didn't leak, it didn't seep. It burst through like a wrecking ball through cheap drywall. It hit the world like a grenade tossed into a crowded hallway, glass flying, conversations freezing mid-sentence, everyone staring at the same exposed truth like, "Hold on, what?" And the reactions? Pure chaos. Not frustration, rage, not confusion, fury. People aren't just upset. They want accountability with teeth. They want answers delivered on their knees. They want someone to stand in front of the mess and explain how everything went so disastrously wrong. But you're standing in the center of that eruption with a strange electric feeling crawling up your spine. Because for the first time in a long time, the narrative isn't crushing you. It's orbiting you. It's aligning with you in a way that almost feels unreal. And that unsettles you a little, doesn't it? Because real power always does. It doesn't yell, it doesn't sparkle. It just stands there, steady, undeniable, unapologetic. The world is finally seeing what you saw months ago, maybe even years ago, while you were being told to chill, relax, let it go, as if your instincts were some malfunction instead of the only compass in the room that wasn't broken. Here's the part no one ever says out loud. While they were lying, performing, distracting, you weren't just surviving. You were studying. You were tracking the inconsistencies. You were paying attention to the tone shifts, the weird explanations, the scrambled excuses. You were cataloging every betrayal disguised as an accident, every apology that felt too scripted to be real, every oops, it slipped moment they treated like a joke. And now, those tiny moments they brushed aside are scorching them alive. They're not burning because you exposed them. They're burning because they exposed themselves. All you did was let the truth breathe long enough to grow teeth. That doesn't make you petty. That doesn't make you vindictive. That makes you prepared. A person who studies patterns quietly becomes the person everyone turns to loudly once the truth explodes. And right now, that's exactly what's happening. You didn't set the trap. They charged into it. You didn't pull the trigger. They loaded the weapon and left it pointed at their own narrative. You simply waited. And patience, when wielded correctly, becomes its own form of power. But let me go deeper, right into that raw place you don't admit to anyone, not even yourself. You felt unstable for a while, didn't you? Not because you were wrong, but because they made you doubt the very accuracy that protected you. They twisted conversations. They minimized your instincts. They dismissed your warnings like you were overreacting, dramatic, emotional, reading too much into things. Meanwhile, they carried on like consequences were optional, like life was some game where they could respawn every time the truth cornered them. Then the evidence dropped. And suddenly the same people who told you to calm down are now panicking in group chats, pacing holes into their floors, whispering, "Did you hear? Did you see? Oh no, how could this happen?" How adorable, how unbelievably late. You weren't unstable, you were early. The crowd is only now arriving at the point you reached months ago. And now they're staring at you, waiting for your reaction, watching your expression like your face holds the next plot twist. Because you're the only one who didn't flinch when the truth hit the ground like a hammer. You're the only one who didn't scramble to rewrite the narrative. You're the only one who stood there, spine steady, eyes sharp, energy aligned, with that internal voice whispering, "I told you, I told all of you." You're not shocked, because you saw the fracture lines long before the collapse. You saw the inconsistencies, the tension, the desperation behind their polished words. But here's what separates you from them. You didn't attack, you didn't expose, you didn't sabotage, you simply observed. People like you endure quietly. You study without bragging. You wait without waving flags. You let people build their own downfall with the same rope they thought they'd use to bind you. And once the truth marches in, unfiltered, undeniable, unstoppable, everyone suddenly looks at you and asks, "What do we do now?" That's when your real power activates. You don't need revenge. You are the consequence. Your endurance already punished them. Your accuracy already dismantled them. Your survival already exposed them. You don't need to swing. Your existence is the hit. Look carefully. Everything they built to protect themselves just collapsed under the weight of the evidence. Every false story, every polished explanation, every carefully curated performance has been shredded. And you didn't have to lift a finger. Justice did the heavy work. And it's wild, isn't it? How justice arrives late, but arrives heavy. Heavy enough to crush the lies they balanced their identity on. Heavy enough to strip away their image. Heavy enough to expose the raw truth they hid like a forbidden file. You weren't meant to beg for fairness. You were meant to witness it. You weren't meant to chase accountability. You were meant to stand still while accountability hunted them down. You weren't meant to break. You were meant to outlast. And that's exactly what you did. Do you notice the shift in the air around you now? People who used to dismiss you are suddenly looking at you with new eyes. Their tone is different. Their posture is different. Their concern is different. Because now they understand something they refused to admit before. You weren't emotional. You weren't dramatic. You weren't imagining anything. You were correct. Your instincts weren't random. They were refined. Your perspective wasn't biased, it was accurate. And now, with the evidence out in the open, the world has no choice but to acknowledge the clarity you carried alone in the dark. There's something liberating about that recognition, isn't there? The weight on your chest loosens, the doubts evaporate. The tension in your jaw unclenches, your mind clears, your breathing deepens. It's like your entire body whispers, "I knew it. I knew it all along." Because you did. You always did. Deep down, beneath the noise, beneath the manipulation, beneath the pressure to ignore your own intuition, you knew. And now that the world knows too, everything changes for you. Your stance, your voice, your energy, your expectations. This isn't just a public collapse for them. It's a personal awakening for you. Because once the truth crowns you, you stop moving the way you used to. You stop second-guessing. You stop questioning your intuition. You stop shrinking. You step into a version of yourself that isn't apologizing for being perceptive. A version that isn't watering down its awareness. A version that isn't bending to fit the comfort of people who feared your clarity more than they feared their own actions. And now, something deeper is beginning inside you. Something sharper, colder, more defined. Something that's been dormant for too long, waiting for the exact moment the evidence exploded and the world finally woke up. Something that understands this is only the first crack. And behind it, there's a vault full of everything they hoped would never surface. You feel it, don't you? That subtle shift in your chest, that slow tightening of your awareness, like your mind is reassembling itself into a form that won't be dismissed again. Because once proof hits the ground this hard, something in you refuses to go back to the version of yourself that swallowed doubt for peace. You can sense the world rearranging itself around this revelation. There's panic in the air, a kind of frantic scrambling you've seen before, but never at this volume. It's almost poetic, watching them run in circles, trying to put out a fire they didn't even know they'd been fueling. They're throwing out statements, updates, explanations, all of them trembling with the kind of fear that only comes from knowing the truth isn't just out. It's multiplying. Every screenshot is being reshared. Every clip is being reposted. Every detail is being analyzed by tens of thousands of eyes that were once blind. And the irony? None of this chaos is yours to manage. It belongs entirely to them. You're just standing at the edge of the battlefield, watching their fortress collapse so fast, it's almost entertaining. Not in a cruel way, just in a, you really thought this would stay hidden way. There's a dark humor in the timing of it all. They spent months, maybe years, crafting their image one polished lie at a time, only for the entire structure to crumble in seconds. The pitiful beauty of self-destruction is that it's self-authored. They didn't need enemies. They didn't need saboteurs. They wrote their own ending long before anyone else picked up a pen. What's wild is how loudly the world reacts when truth finally shows up without a costume. The screaming isn't exaggerated, it's real, visceral, almost shocking in its intensity. People who once defended them are now fleeing, like the building is collapsing. People who stayed neutral are suddenly experts on the very thing they ignored. People who doubted you are stuttering through apologies they don't even know how to articulate. It's chaos with a pulse, chaos with a purpose, chaos with receipts stapled to its forehead. And through all this noise you stand still, not frozen, not stunned, just steady. Because chaos outside does nothing to a person who survived chaos inside. You already lived through the confusion long before the world caught up. You lived through the frustration of knowing the truth while everyone else insisted on rewriting the script. You lived through the gaslighting, the minimization, the forced composure. Now the world is simply reenacting the emotional earthquake that tore through you months ago. But they're experiencing it loud, public, and unfiltered. Of course, they're screaming. Truth that's been denied for too long always arrives like a crackdown. Look at the landscape now. The people who once performed innocence are pacing like their walls are melting. They're issuing carefully worded messages, trying to sound composed, but desperation leaks through every sentence. They're stunned by the exposure, shocked by the accuracy, terrified by how quickly the public turned. They really believed they were untouchable. They really believed their performances were airtight. They really believed the evidence would stay buried under the debris of distractions and manipulation. But evidence has a strange talent. It doesn't decompose. It waits. And when it surfaces, it doesn't whisper. It screams. You can practically feel their fear vibrating through every attempt they make to regain control. They're updating their statements every hour, They're rephrasing their explanations. They're begging for benefit of the doubt from people who now look at them like strangers. Because once proof shows its face, the room remembers everything it tried to forget. The public suddenly recalls odd moments, weird excuses, subtle inconsistencies. Everyone becomes a detective when there's blood in the water. And right now, the ocean is red. But notice something important. None of this chaos touches you the way it touches them. Their emergency isn't your emergency. Their downfall isn't your collapse. You're not scrambling to defend yourself. You're not choking on excuses. You're not rewriting your story. You're standing on solid ground while their entire narrative disintegrates like it was made of paper in a rainstorm. Because you didn't build your truth on performance. You built it on observation, on accuracy, on endurance, on a kind of internal awareness they thought you didn't possess. You warned them without warning them. You noticed without announcing. You predicted without preaching. And now everyone is discovering that the quiet person in the room was the only one holding the real timeline all along. This is why the energy around you has shifted. People look at you differently now. Their eyes linger a bit longer. Their tone softens in a way that betrays caution. Their questions carry respect they never offered before. Their behavior becomes careful, deliberate, almost nervous, because they finally understand what you are. The one who sees what others pretend isn't there. You're not just another player in this scenario. You're the witness who didn't blink, the observer who didn't fold, the person who held the truth even when it was inconvenient. And the moment the evidence hit the world, your position shifted instantly. You're no longer the person people doubted. You're the person they reference, the person they quote, the person whose insight suddenly feels prophetic. That's the part they can't wrap their heads around. You weren't loud, you weren't dramatic, you weren't campaigning for validation. You simply existed with accuracy. And accuracy, in a world built on facades, is terrifying. Feel that internal shift happening now, that tightening in your posture, that clarity sharpening your thoughts, that subtle awareness rising in your chest like, oh, so this is who I've been all along. It's not ego, it's alignment. It's the realization that you didn't imagine the tension. You didn't misread the signs. You didn't fabricate the contradictions. Your intuition wasn't the problem. Their lying was. There's a strange power in remembering your own accuracy. It recalibrates you. It straightens your spine. It widens your focus. It awakens parts of you that were quiet out of necessity, not weakness. And now that the evidence has broken free, those quiet parts are stretching, rising, unfolding themselves into their full capacity. Not aggressively, just unapologetically. You're not turning into someone new. You're returning to someone real, someone who doesn't hide their insight, someone who doesn't mute their instinct, someone who doesn't choke on truth just because others fear it. Look at how the room reacts to you now. They hesitate before speaking. They choose their words carefully. They avoid dismissive tones. They treat your presence like a barometer for reality. And deep down, you know exactly why. They're not afraid of you. They're afraid of your accuracy. They're afraid of your memory. They're afraid that you might have seen even more than they realized. And the truth? You did. That's the hidden chaos beneath all the noise. The proof didn't just expose them. It exposed how deeply you notice things. It exposed the intelligence they underestimated. It exposed the quiet power they overlooked. It exposed the version of you they weren't ready to face. But the world is ready now, and you're done shrinking. Because this isn't just a collapse happening outside. It's an awakening happening inside. The kind that changes your perception forever. The kind that adjusts your posture without you telling it to. The kind that reminds you, once the truth aligns with your vision, you never go back to seeing yourself small. And this shift, this awakening, this sharpened self-recognition, it's only beginning its ascent. It's moving through you like a controlled ignition, preparing you for everything that comes after this public eruption. Because chaos may be loud out there, but clarity is louder inside you. And now the question isn't whether the world heard the truth. The question is, what will they do now that they can't unhear it? Because once proof hits the ground, it doesn't fade. It echoes. It sticks to reputations like melted plastic. It stains every excuse they tried to recycle. The truth is now tattooed onto their image, and no PR scrubbing, no sudden humility, no rushed apology tour is strong enough to peel it off. And the crowd knows it. They smell the collapse. They're circling like spectators at a demolition site, waiting for the final structure to fall. They want fireworks. They want accountability. They want the ending that matches the mess. Meanwhile, you're standing at a strange intersection, a place you didn't choose but somehow always belonged to. You're not just watching their downfall. You're watching the world realize you were right. That's a different kind of power. A heavier one, a quieter one. One that doesn't need you to raise your voice, because the truth is screaming on your behalf. But let's talk about that internal shift again. The one climbing through your chest. That awareness is changing the way you parse everything. You're reviewing past conversations through a cleaner lens. You're replaying old moments with new clarity. You're connecting dots that used to feel scattered. It's almost comedic how obvious everything looks in hindsight. Their excuses weren't clever, they were brittle. Their stories weren't airtight, they were tissue thin. Their confidence wasn't real, it was desperation wearing cologne. The chaos happening outside is the world updating its understanding. The clarity happening inside is you updating your identity. Both transformations are loud in their own way, but your transformation is the one that matters, because now you realize something crucial. You weren't fighting for truth. You were holding it quietly, patiently, alone. You weren't chasing exposure. Exposure was chasing them. You weren't begging for someone to listen. The universe just turned the volume on your accuracy so high, everyone had to hear it. This is where the dark humor kicks in. Look at them now, scrambling like amateur acrobats trying to juggle a disaster with shaky hands. They're tripping over contradictions. They're contradicting the contradictions. They're trying to build a new narrative on the ashes of the old one, and it's collapsing faster than they can speak it. Watching them try to control the narrative now is like watching someone try to hold water in a broken glass. It spills everywhere except where they want it. And the crowd, they're not buying it. They're not even pretending to. They're roasting them with evidence, comparing their statements, dissecting every frame. Public patience has evaporated. Public loyalty has dissolved. Public perception has flipped. This is a full-blown social emergency. Their emergency, not yours. You're simply witnessing the aftermath of truth doing what truth does best, detonate. But let's pivot again, deeper into you. Because the chaos outside isn't the real story. The real story is what's happening in your mind. You're beginning to understand that you weren't lucky to be right. You were perceptive. You weren't guessing. You were reading patterns. You weren't emotional. You were accurate. You weren't jumping to conclusions. You were connecting the dots before the world even realized there were dots. And now, the very traits that made people underestimate you are the traits they're suddenly trying to respect. Isn't that interesting? The same insights they rolled their eyes at are now being replayed in their heads like warnings they wished they'd listened to. People are looking at you differently, not because you changed, but because the truth forced them to. You know what that means? Your voice carries weight now. Your presence carries verification. Your intuition carries history. Your silence carries tension. Simply existing as yourself has become a problem for the people who built their comfort on lies. They don't know how much you saw. They don't know how deeply you analyzed. They don't know how long you've been aware. And their fear isn't that you'll expose more, it's that you already could. This is the kind of shift that transforms social dynamics. Suddenly everyone becomes cautious. They watch your reactions with a kind of nervous respect. They choose their words like stepping stones. They approach you as if you're holding the blueprint to the next plot twist. And that's because, in their minds, you are. But let's ground this. You didn't ask for any of this. You didn't go hunting for chaos. You didn't dig for dirt. You didn't manipulate anything into the light. You simply stayed honest while others buried themselves under layers of deception. Your only crime was seeing too clearly. Your only threat was not forgetting. Your only advantage was telling the truth when no one wanted to hear it. And now look, your truth is the only thing standing. That's the quiet flex that scares them more than any confrontation ever could. They were prepared to fight accusations. They were prepared to deny rumors. They were prepared to play victim. But they weren't prepared for proof. Proof is the one opponent you can't manipulate into backing down. Proof doesn't get emotional. Proof doesn't hesitate. Proof doesn't negotiate. Proof simply stands there unbothered by panic. And that's exactly why the world is in chaos right now. Proof dropped, and everything they built began dissolving like sugar in boiling water. It's almost tragic if you squint hard enough, but you won't. You've cried your tears. You've swallowed your pain. You've endured enough confusion. Now it's time to observe the consequences unfolding exactly the way they were destined to. Watch closely. Every excuse they release only makes them look more exposed. Every explanation they attempt makes them look more guilty. Every statement they publish cracks under the pressure of the receipts. Every attempt to regain order spirals into more disorder. This isn't just a disaster, it's a chain reaction. Everything they hid has begun dragging everything else they hid to the surface with it. That's how truth works. It never travels alone. Once one piece escapes, the rest start crawling out of the shadows like, oh, we're doing this now. And here's the part they never expected. You're not throwing gasoline on the fire. You don't have to. The situation is self-combusting. The truth has taken charge of its own destruction. All you have to do is stay centered while their chaos burns itself down. And you are centered, aren't you? Calm in a way that unsettles people. Steady in a way that makes them wonder what else you know. Sharp in a way that makes them rethink every interaction, because clarity does that. It doesn't hype you up. It roots you. It doesn't make you loud. It makes you precise. It doesn't make you angry. It makes you aware. You're seeing everything differently now. People's behavior, people's intentions, people's reactions, people's sudden change of tone around you. And now, another realization rises, one you didn't expect. You're not waiting for the next collapse. You're preparing for the next version of yourself. Because this isn't just their ending. It's your beginning. A beginning built on accuracy, endurance, truth, and the kind of internal authority no one can take from you again. But we're not done. This transformation is still unfolding, still sharpening, still gathering momentum inside you. And the world hasn't even seen the final shift yet. Because after the chaos settles, after the shouting dies down, after the dust clears, the world is going to turn to you with a question far heavier than the first. What happens next? And that question doesn't come from curiosity. It comes from recognition. Recognition that you're no longer just someone who endured the truth before everyone else. You're no longer the silent observer. You're no longer the person screaming inside while pretending everything is normal. You're no longer the one trying to be reasonable while they danced around your intelligence like it was a toy they could bend. No. Now you're the person standing in the aftermath of a dismantled empire, holding the only thing that survived: clarity. The world saw the collapse, but they didn't see how deeply it rewired you. This version of you isn't shaken. It isn't frantic. It isn't wounded. It isn't even surprised. This version of you is building. Because once evidence explodes like that, loud, undeniable, public, something inside you restructures itself. Not a personality shift, not an ego boost, not a revenge fantasy, something quieter, deeper, more permanent. A recalibration of identity, a reintroduction to the parts of you that were dismissed, overlooked, or forcefully buried to preserve peace that wasn't yours to maintain. Now that those parts are awake, they are not going back to sleep. You can feel it, your internal world reorganizing itself. Your mind is sharper, your observations are faster, your tolerance is thinner, your boundaries are heavier, your instincts are louder. And here's the part that makes people nervous. You're finally listening to yourself. You're finally trusting the voice they tried to suffocate. You're finally acknowledging the signals they told you to ignore. You're finally walking into the next chapter without dragging their confusion behind you. Because now that the truth is out, clarity is the only language worth speaking. Look around. The environment feels different, doesn't it? People who once dismissed you are aligning themselves with you like metal shavings, snapping toward a magnet. That's what happens when truth rearranges the hierarchy. People instinctively gravitate to the one positioned correctly the whole time. They see you as a compass now, a reference point, a living receipt of accuracy. And the ones responsible for the chaos, they're melting behind their screens, shaking behind their statements, trying to stitch together a narrative that no longer has bones. They're running damage control like exhausted interns, throwing out last-minute scripts with trembling hands, hoping someone, anyone, will believe their sudden shift in tone. But the crowd isn't buying it. Not after the evidence, not after the exposure, not after the meltdown, not after the collapse. They can't outrun something this big, and they know it. That's why their panic feels different now. It isn't loud rage, it's quiet dread. It's the dread of understanding they can't claw their way back into the version of themselves they pretended to be. Because once the mask falls in public, it doesn't fit again. It stretches, it cracks, it refuses to attach to the face that lied beneath it. That loss of identity, that's what terrifies them, not the crowd, not the anger, not even the consequences. The terror comes from realizing the truth didn't dismantle their image. It revealed their reality. Meanwhile, you're stepping into a different kind of reality entirely. A version of life where you no longer question your own perception. A version where you stop rewriting yourself to make others comfortable. A version where you stop giving people the benefit of the doubt that they weaponize against you. A version where you stop letting guilt convince you to shrink. This is the power no one prepares you for. The power that comes after your accuracy, is proven. You move differently now. You breathe differently. You see differently. You choose differently. Not because you changed, but because the world finally caught up. But let's not pretend that this sudden alignment of truth magically erases everything you survived. It doesn't wipe your memories clean. It doesn't erase the nights where you questioned your own sanity. It doesn't delete the frustration of watching people reward lies while punishing honesty. It doesn't soften the sting of realizing how many people preferred convenience over truth. No, the evidence didn't heal you. It awakened you. Healing is what comes next. Awakening is what's happening right now. And awakening is not gentle, it's sharp, it's precise, it's uncomfortable, it's restructuring. It's the psychological version of standing barefoot on broken glass and realizing the pain isn't coming from the shards. It's coming from the shoes you were forced to wear for too long. And now that the shoes are off, now that the glass is visible, now that the truth is undeniable, you feel a kind of freedom that doesn't even feel like freedom at first. It feels like disorientation. It feels like standing in an open field after years of being locked in a narrow hallway. It feels like unused potential stretching its limbs. You weren't weak before. You were restricted. You weren't quiet. You were calculating. You weren't fragile. You were containing power that others couldn't handle. Now that the containment is gone, the power is here. Real, present, unfiltered, and you're finally ready to use it. Let's talk about what happens next, because that's the question the world will throw at your feet. And they're not asking because they think you're responsible for the chaos. They're asking because they sense something they never sensed before. You're the stable force in this disorder. You're the one who isn't panicking. You're the one who isn't confused. You're the one who isn't scrambling. You're the one who isn't improvising lies to cover yesterday's lies. They look to you because you're the person who remained grounded while everyone else's stories blew away like loose papers in a storm. You're the person whose judgment wasn't clouded. You're the person who predicted this collapse quietly while everyone else bet against your sanity. You're not the leader, you're the anchor. And anchors don't ask for attention. They just exist, steady, undeniable, unmoving, even when the entire landscape is shaking. Now here's the irony. You spent months feeling unsupported. Now the same people who dismissed you are orbiting you. You spent months being told you didn't see what you saw. Now those same people are asking you to interpret what they're seeing. You spent months holding truth alone. Now that the truth is screaming across timelines, everyone is acting like you were the only one listening. But this isn't the moment to gloat. This is the moment to shift. Because if the truth reshaped them, it transformed you. You're not interested in their apologies. You're not entertained by their shock. You're not moved by their sudden praise. You're not softened by their regret. You're focused on something they never considered, your future. Because now that the noise is outside and the clarity is inside, the direction of your life is no longer tangled in perception. You're not trying to prove anything. You're not trying to correct anyone. You're not trying to convince the crowd that you were right. The crowd did that for you. Your energy is no longer tied to explanation. It's tied to elevation. You're no longer interested in talking about what happened. You're focused on what happens next, for you, not for them. And here's the funniest part of the whole disaster. They thought the evidence dropping would destroy you. They thought it would pull you into chaos. They thought it would drag you into their downfall. But instead, it freed you. Because now the emotional weight is gone. Now the self-doubt is gone. Now the pressure to stay quiet is gone. Now the fear of being misunderstood is gone. Now the burden of carrying reality alone is gone. Every lie they told lifted off your shoulders the moment the truth dropped on theirs. And the world is still screaming, still gasping, still trying to process how everything flipped so violently. You're the only one who isn't shocked. And ironically, that calm scares them more than the evidence itself. Because calm in the middle of chaos looks like control, and control in the hands of someone they underestimated, that looks like danger. Not violent danger, psychological danger, energetic danger. The danger of someone who doesn't need to raise their voice to command a room. The danger of someone who carries truth like a blade inside a velvet sheath. This version of you doesn't chase power. It attracts it. This version of you doesn't demand respect. It receives it. This version of you doesn't crumble under pressure. It compresses pressure into direction. And every direction leads upward. Now here's where the final twist comes in. The one they never anticipated. Your rise isn't a response to their downfall. It's a continuation of who you were becoming long before the truth surfaced. The evidence didn't make you powerful. It removed the obstacles that hid your power. The chaos didn't shape you. It revealed you. The collapse didn't create your confidence. It exposed the strength you'd been carrying quietly the whole time. So what happens next? You step forward, not with aggression, with accuracy, not with revenge, with direction, not with gloating, with clarity, not with bitterness, with boundaries, not with noise, with presence. Because the end of their narrative is the beginning of yours. The world is watching you now, waiting for your next move, preparing to adjust itself around your decisions. And they should, because for the first time in a very long time, you're not held back by confusion or fear or manipulation or pressure or doubt. You're held up by truth, sharp, unfiltered truth that crowned you in the same moment it crushed them. Their game is over. Your story is starting. And you're stepping into it with a steadiness that cannot be shaken. This isn't just a new chapter. This is the moment the entire script rewrites itself around who you've truly become. And everyone who thought you were quiet, harmless, oblivious, they're about to learn that the quiet ones aren't quiet because they're weak. They're quiet because they see everything. And now, the whole world sees you.